They were bad, like probably 6 months to a year later. Um, I can explain. I only do this podcast when I feel like I have an episode to shoot, and due to that fact alone, that's why we're here. I'm going to introduce my guest. I've known him for a long time. This is Isaiah Squared. This is me in a different font. Photographer, videographer, theater, Broadway, Rent, Hamilton, you name it, Pint-Sized Productions. He just does it all. And with his contribution to theater, as we're going to see more, I look forward to an Oscar and a Grammy in his future for both, because he's going to do everything. You know, we're looking forward to him. We'll let you know. Welcome.
Thank you. No Broadway yet. It's coming. Hopefully.
So, like, I have to ask, when you started Pint-Sized Productions, like, I feel like because you went to school and you can see, like, everything in the behind the scenes and up front as you're, like, you know, acting, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
How did you start to, like, flex your creative muscle, if that makes sense? To where it's like, you go to school and you're like, okay, I learned all these things. Now you're actually doing them, and now it's like, now it's time for you to take the mantle of the storyteller. Like, this is what I do with the camera, the person behind the camera, the person behind whatever it may be. How did you start flexing that creative muscle?
So, I hope this answers the question. So I have been doing theater for such a long time, and I'd mainly been acting. I had done almost all of the work I did in theater before I got to college was on stage. I did a little bit of stagehand kind of stuff where I was just like helping out in the crew, but yeah, most of it on stage. So when I got to college, some of the courses that I had to take were like actually spending the time of being the stagehand for the full run of a show. So rather than just doing it every now and then, like I was the dedicated crew to different shows. And along with that, they shifted me to other things. I was the assistant master electrician. So basically that meant I was hanging all the lights and I was doing all the lighting kind of stuff that you see on the stage.
Yeah.
And along with those classes, I was also working at a place called the Ferguson Center for the Arts that was connected to my school senior. And that was, again, more of that staging kind of work. And I do a lot of the electrician stuff, but sometimes I'd also be with sound. Sometimes I'd be a carpenter, so I'd be like building the stuff. Sometimes I'd be running the light board or the soundboard. Sometimes I'd be operating a spotlight. So I guess seeing it from that angle and then seeing it on stage made me think, I can really do this. And then I also took a bunch of courses in arts administration. That's part of what I got my degree in, which is basically the business side of running the theater. So I was doing stuff like talking about what goes into the gift shop, how theaters should brand themselves, why they pick different fonts or different colors, how they reach out to people, how they tell their stories. So getting that background business information and then getting the stagehand information and then just my love of being on stage made me feel like I have enough to tie all of these things together.
Yeah.
And then so once I felt like I had that confidence, I started helping out with different places to help make videos and see if I can actually use all of these skills. I used to work with my parents' church all the time. I would make them videos for like Christmas or whenever our pastor had a specific message, he would reach out to me and I'd try to like write and create a video that would go along with it. So I was doing all of the production stuff. So I think that's where I really got to take all the skills I was learning in school and then use them in a way where I was in charge of everything. And then I got to see the results of it pretty quickly because like I'd make a video in like under a month. We'd show it to the church and they'd tell me what they liked about it. I'd hear what people wish was there. I'd be able to look at the project and be like, here's what I wish I would have done differently. And just doing that process over and over really helped to get those reps in and flex those muscles and see what I want to do next, what I was capable of, and where I should be putting my energy.
How seems the transition from like, because correct me if I'm wrong, you did do Broadway, right?
No. So I've never been on Broadway. I wish. I did a lot of community theater in the area. I did a lot of high school theater, and then I was doing collegiate theater while I was in college. I've done a little bit of professional theater.
Okay, so my terminology I used for Broadway was incorrect.
Broadway's like legally.
The label I used was incorrect. But on stage and theater, in comparison to like how you shot off the stage, actually two parts. How seamless was it for you to transition to like being on a stage where it's like the tape is here and there's like, you know, these things you go about and you wait for your cues and things like that, and you started recording off the stage. How important was that experience for how you started shooting, like when you came off the stage? And do you have a preference of what you prefer?
Preference 100% on stage. There's nothing
Really?
like it. The energy that you get from live theater and like performing in front of a live audience is so special because it is temporary. Once you see that show, you'll never see that show again the way it was done. Maybe the night you're there, an actor accidentally ad-libbed something. There's something wrong with the set, and they had to navigate around it and add something new to the show. That happens one time. So along with that live energy, it's not like a TV show where you can just like turn it on and watch it again and watch it again.
Yeah.
The show that you're doing is specifically for the people who are there, and that's like the coolest part of theater for me. I did a lot of improv theater too, which took it a step further, because not only are you not seeing the same show as in like the performers are doing the script differently, we're literally making up something new every single night. So I took those two facts and I tied them into the films that I've worked on by trying to make each set day feel like a magical moment that you can only get that one day, even if we are doing the scene multiple different times. And I think that having the stage experience really informed the way I approached making films because it changes the way I think about blocking. So like, when you're on stage, you only get to do it once and you have to do everything in order. You tell the story from beginning to end. So I try to film in that way as much as I can, try to film everything chronologically. But also I'm very in tune with, okay, this person needs to be here for this to make sense.
Yeah.
The distance that these guys have gives you a different relationship if they're this far apart versus if they're this far apart.
Yeah.
Or if I'm framing a shot, okay, this diagonal angle gives one character more strength than it does the other. So those are things that I always keep in mind when I'm trying to make a film or trying to block something. And I think that being able to be in the actor's shoes and know what they're feeling has also been very helpful. I know for me, there's a lot of things that run through my head that I feel like I can't talk to the director or someone about because there's been multiple times where I've worked with actors who never actually worked on the stage before. Especially in film. Working with like film directors and stuff, a lot of them have never like been in front of the camera. They have all the ideas, but they don't know how to communicate with actors in ways that make sense to them and like what they're trying to do. So I feel like I have a really good way of like getting into their shoes. Another thing that made it seamless for me is that with all the staging and stuff that I've done, being on stage and just like watching a bunch of live theater, it changed the way I view the role of the camera. I think of the camera as another actor. So the camera is another character in the show. Their perspective, what they're seeing, one, is basically what the audience is feeling, and two, it's important. Going back to the diagonals and stuff, this character is viewing this thing from this point of view. So where you put the camera or where that person is standing is going to give you a much different energy. Like again, if you put the camera right in front of someone, that feels very unsafe. That feels very dangerous versus if you put it far away. So I think having that mindset of viewing not having a camera there and then incorporating the camera as just another character, I think has really informed a lot of the stuff that I've done. I hope that makes sense. That's how you were saying.
Yeah, 1000%.
Yeah,
It made me think. Remember the last time we were just talking when we were here with Dave, and you were talking about how like when actors who don't go to it wasn't acting school that you said when they don't act. No, it was acting school, right? Where you said if someone didn't go to acting school, you can always tell.
Oh no! Yeah, I remember what you were saying. It was actors who've never acted on stage. You could tell almost immediately every single time.
So let me ask you a question: Are there actors that you have seen on stage, not on stage, in film, mimic things that you've seen on stage inside of a film? You're able to be like, oh, what are you doing? I saw that. I know what you're doing. I think it's kind of hard to explain, but there are things that you do on stage that don't work on the camera, and there's a lot of stuff that you do on camera that doesn't work on stage. For example, the camera's very close to you. You're not like 100 seats back, so you don't have to project or anything. Also, when someone is really far away, they can't see all of like the big facial choices that you're making. So those are less important. What's more important is like being in your body and like expressing everything with
because they can see all of you expressing everything with your entire body versus just like focusing on like the tiny things that are going on in your face. A lot of theater actors have a hard time transitioning into camera work for that reason. I do as well. One of the things I used to get all the time is that I'm way too loud because I'm used to projecting for the people who are way back there. But going back to what you were saying, you don't really see people on screen mimic things that they do on stage, but you'll see a lot of people who are on stage feel much more engaged with the arc of their character, if that makes sense. A lot of actors who are on stage, like Denzel Washington's a very good example of an actor who's like very on the stage, or Samuel Jackson. You hear them talk, or Viola Davis. You hear them talk, they're very stage first. That's how they act and how they talk about their characters. Because like I was saying earlier, I think, stage, you're telling the whole story from beginning to end. There is, and you get the one take. There is no, we're gonna cut it and do this, we're gonna cut it and do this. There is no, that's okay if you messed it up. The audience is gonna wait, and we're gonna try it again, and then we're gonna keep doing it until we get it right. Stage, one and done. You get that live feedback immediately. And I think acting on the camera, the way it's done is, I think of it like how when people are making a song, versus like performing a concert live. When they're making a song, they're able to like punch in, punch out, and you get to be able to workshop and stuff like that. And I think a lot of actors who are on the screen will only memorize like a scene at a time, or maybe like a line at a time, or just want to memorize. Versus a lot of people who have the discipline of being on stage and knowing that they have to do that, memorize everything for it. And I don't know how easy. Do you feel like you can see the difference between these things? I know you probably don't have as much like theater experience, but is it making sense what I'm saying?
The two people that stick out to me when I can see a difference, did Michael B. Jordan go to theater?
From what I know, no, I don't think he's theatrically trained.
I think the two people I find the biggest differences is Sterling K. Brown and Michael B. Jordan. I think have two different approaches to how they act, at least from what I see on screen. I feel like Michael B. Jordan has this like, he has like this in-body experience that like, I feel like if you were like, how can I say it? He feels practical. In a sense of where like it feels authentic. Like I can't remember that movie where he was an inmate and that man had put water on the floor and he was waiting for him to come sleep and slip and fall and he would start beating people. And the way he went immediately, he was like, oh yeah, I'm finna throw them. Like I would do that if I'm in that situation. But for Sterling K. Brown, there's a different feel for how he acts. Because I know he went to school for theater, like that's where he met his wife and everything. So for me, watching him act in different scenes, it's a different range that comes across more, I don't want to say standard, that would be a terrible term to use, but it just comes across more believable. In a sense where it's like, this is the character inside of the movie, and you can really feel what that character is feeling. And it feels like with Michael B. Jordan, like he makes you feel like you could catch that person like next week. Like like the character feels so realistic in how he portrays it that like if I went outside, like, I could probably see Creed like do a little jog around the corner. I'm like, oh yeah, he was out here. It was Sterling K. Brown. I feel like I wouldn't see many of those characters out and about, except the one that he did with This Is Us, because he's like the trademark like non-toxic dad who's like actually like a good role model and figure. And so I think that's like the biggest thing that I can see the difference of. There's a rawness to Michael B. Jordan, and yet a refinedness to Sterling K. Brown. But I like it for both of them for different reasons. But it feels weird because I think because Michael's been doing it for so long. In Sinners, I feel like he's tilted more to more refined type of quality type of stuff. And so now his acting feels more like Sterling K. Brown in Sinners. But when I think of like Fruitvale Station, the first two Creeds, the third one, no, maybe the third one still. No, I think the first two. The first two feel really raw, and then everything after that, it just feels like something had switched.
I agree. So Sinners is my favorite movie of all time. I can talk about it for hours. I
saw it 4 times.
That movie means so much to me. But anyway, I wasn't sold on Michael B. Jordan before that. Like I didn't like dislike him. I thought it was okay. Sinners was the breakthrough for me. I think specifically with actors like him, and big Hollywood actors. In Hollywood, they say that it's like 70% looks, 30% talent. Not that he's not talented, he's a very talented person, and a lot of these Hollywood actors are. Theater, they don't really care about how you look, they care about can you play this role.
Yeah.
Like, there is a bit of typecasting, but your acting is much more important. People will go see movies because they think the actor's hot. People expect a specific...
Believability is carried by something different.
People specifically expect you to be a certain type of way in a movie. That's why action stars like Jason Statham are always playing like that action kind of character.
Yeah.
Or what's his name? Dude who is Gus in Breaking Bad. I can't think of his name.
Now I have his
Yeah.
name.
But he's been typecast as well. He always uses that same kind of like stoic, calculated character.
Yeah.
Because with film, they're less focused on like you getting like a big range. They're more focused on you can sell this. We need to make money off of you selling this specific kind of thing. So having the ability to have a big range and play a bunch of different characters is extremely less common in film, especially for black men. They want you to be a specific type. They want you to be able to do a specific thing. That's what sells. Theater people are much more focused on like how do you embody this character? How much range do you have? And I think for me specifically, that's how I judge an actor. I think range is more important than anything else. I think acting is about embodying a different character and like experimenting with a different walk of life and telling that story authentically. And I think it's more important to be able to do that with a bunch of different things. It's more incredible to me than being able to do one thing very, very well. I always think that range goes above everything. But yeah, I think you're just looking for different things in film, and I think a lot of actors who are on screen approach it knowing that they're looking for something different. On stage, it's all about how well can you tell the story, how well can you play this character, and you have to. I keep saying it. The big thing is you're doing it all at once, and you're getting live feedback immediately.
Because I don't think anybody could have played. This is the analogy I use sometimes when I think about Michael B. Jordan. Anyone in Hollywood probably could have played Black Panther.
Yeah.
But I think it only took Michael B. Jordan to play
Killmonger. Yeah.
Because of how the grit and the way that he is, I feel like it took someone in a more, and I could be talking my ass, mind you, but it took something more like raw about it that I feel like, mind you, no one can play Chadwick Boseman. Just want to put that out there. That's my only Black Panther. Just want to put that out there right now.
You know, they're trying to. I heard that they're going to replace him with Aldous Hodge.
I thought it was Damson Idris.
Oh. I think I could do Damson Idris.
I don't mind him. I can't unsee all the Drewski skits about like when you're playing just like those egregious characters you just come out, cut, well how did I do a good job in that?
Do you know the reason behind that? Do you know the reason behind that?
No.
Why that's a thing? So, the reason why black roles in America are constantly taken by actors from the UK is because in the UK the arts are subsidized. Theater is a big part of their culture. The government pays for people to be artists. People care about theater the way they care about sports here, basically. So people really care about theater. And in America, not only is that not a thing, especially in a lot of very underprivileged places, a lot of places that have low income, and unfortunately a lot of those places are black communities, they're not shown the arts as a way to get out of that. They aren't seeing the arts as profitable. They're shown sports. That's why you see a lot of people from those communities are really trying to make it to the NFL or the NBA. Or when they think of art, they think of like rapping or music because that seems like something that's like very profitable and it seems real. And it seems like something that happens often and people like actually care about. Black communities aren't really shown theater as much as I wish they were. Because it just doesn't, the US doesn't care about it and it doesn't really seem like a realistic way to change your circumstances in a lot of these places. So a lot of those roles when they come up are taken by people in the UK who have been trained to be an actor and have been like taught to appreciate that kind of to appreciate the theater, I guess. It's just an exposure issue basically. We're not really exposed to it a lot. And in America, theater is especially kind of like a status symbol. It costs like hundreds of dollars to go to Broadway. A lot of these shows people aren't able to see, and because people are shut out and they're not shown, when you look at a lot of theater productions, all the actors are like predominantly white.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons
Yeah,
Hamilton was such a big deal.
facilities where you're located in the first place to see them as like different. I feel like it always requires a different taste, a different foot in the water. Because I feel like, at least for me, because my mom did ballet and like doing modern and being like adjacent to, I won't say, let me not speak on my ass because I don't want to say adjacent to opera.
Yeah.
But like, nonetheless, having the stage presence of the tape being there, and obviously instead of like performing through, you're acting a character out, you're dancing a character, you're embodying a character, being like adjacent and being similar. Watching that and knowing in those spaces where those stages are, I definitely didn't see a lot of people like me unless culturally they're already in a space where it exists.
Exactly.
Because I feel like watching my mom do it, her knowing about it, and seeing how many like black women were there, and there were definitely more than what I probably have seen on movies. But in comparison, of course, it's still a minority nonetheless.
Yeah.
And yet, knowing that some of the stages where they exist, I don't think many people would find a way. Like you wouldn't stumble upon it.
Yeah, it's not something
and
you
that's
just
like crazy.
Yeah.
I think downtown actually ends up being one of the most, to me, the easiest ways to like get culture shock into whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you just walk on the strip, you see it, you hear it, you like it, okay, boom, you're already inside. Like the Star Wars cafe that's here, that's downtown, you walk past, you're like, oh shit, what's going on there? You walk in, boom, now you know. And I think like it's just so many things that I wish were more out in the open, because I feel like we always hear theater kids and we never think of us.
Exactly.
I think theater kids is synonymous for we assume who's gonna be there. Like it's always interesting to me. And I think like it plays back to like what you said, like what's going to get us out. And I think a lot of people don't think about living, quality of life has never been much of a discussion. I feel like when it comes to people who look like us in lower income areas, because I feel like the goal is to get out and make it, not enjoy it. As you're going through it, like people with actors, like if there's someone who's acting, you're like, I'm gonna be the best at this, and like I'm gonna do the best I possibly can. But I think a lot of times people, from my friends who act in comparison, and for my friends that I know who act who are black, and friends that I know who act who are white, I always see like a difference in how they are when they're off screen, like behind the scenes, like when I'm watching, like they just acted out, and now they're like in between scenes, and watching them transition from character to character, and just watching what they care about in between. Like I know one of my friends, and this isn't a one size fits all, but this is from what I've observed. Personally, my friends have always been like, oh, let me call my mom and see what's like, just always involved, familiar wise, of like, what time do I need to do this, or what time I have to do this, or I have to start my second job, or whatever. And I never see it as much when it comes to counterparts, when it comes to that, as much as it seems to be more carefree. Because I think even recently, I don't know if you know this, I did tell you this, when I joined that virtual wrestling federation, I have one of the guys there, and he's a friend of mine at this point, because we used to Twitch stream together, and I guess we look forward to doing that, shout out to Max. He's Canadian, and he just started acting. Well, not just started acting, he's been acting for a while. And the way that he emphasizes character work and how it's like all that he can like really focus on, and like even if I feel like even if he was homeless, he would still be so locked in. And just the comparison of concern to like performance to action, it's like when you get up, you're like, I don't know how to phrase it. It's like I feel like sometimes you have to put on for the city. Like, put that in quotes. Like, you have to put on for the city. Like, it's on your back. Like, if you make it, we make it. And I feel like not all the time do we have the same mindset of, like, when it comes down to passion of, like, even if I was broke, even if I was this, even if I was that, I'm still going to do this. And I do not care how much money it makes me, how quick the money comes. And I feel like now we miss that piece that I see other people flourishing in. More so. In my opinion, from what I've seen personally, at least in Fredericksburg, my Fredericksburg's not big.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
We're getting there, hopefully, but I think in general, I just never see that as much.
Yeah.
But for you, in theater, did you see, when people who looked like you, did you ever see a difference in who people who look like you and people who don't, in transitioning from scene to scene, or even like waiting for the next scene to come on, or behind the scenes, or if anyone was like just multifaceted in what they do. Like, have you ever seen a difference? It's been like a stand up, like, oh, okay, so this is the thing that happens.
I wouldn't say like a complete difference like that. What I will say is the arts are really seen as like a luxury in this country. So going back to the accessibility of it, a lot of places it's not very accessible. That's why you don't really see it when people look like this. The difference I see actually is how important it is for us to be there. Most of the shows that I've been in, there've only been like one or two other ones, like in like the entire production. And so it's really weird seeing all of these stories being lived out and knowing that like they weren't really made or written with you in mind a lot of the time. So I think me and a lot of the other Black actors that I've met have really connected with being people who are in that room who look like each other, who have the same passion, and we're lucky enough to be exposed to the arts at whatever age that we were at. And I think we're all a lot of the actors that I talked to who are of color, especially Black actors, myself included, are very much focused on being able to bring more of our culture into it. Bring more people who look like us into the theater. That's something we always talk about. Every Black actor I know has a dream of like making art for other Black actors to be a part of that's written for us by us. White actors don't have that. They don't deal with that. I think white actors are, and this is just a generalization, but I think a lot of the ones that I met are much more focused on themselves being the star, being big, being famous. And I think a lot more the Black actors that I've met are much more focused on how can I bring my community into this and have them experience what I've been experiencing. I've only done one show where it was a predominantly Black cast. There was only one white actor, but we had like an entire Black production crew. It was an August Wilson show. It was Gem of the Ocean, first of the century cycle. So August Wilson, prolific Black playwright, wrote 10 different plays. They're called the Century Cycle. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
They are.
I'm intrigued.
There are plays written in each decade, and so like the Black experience in each decade.
But it's like one person who does it, or is this like a theme?
It's one person who. Well, August Wilson's the only person who wrote the play, but it's different families set in different cities in America during different decades. And some of the characters are recurring. You'll see someone who's like a child be an adult with a family in a later one. Every once in a while. But Gem of the Ocean was set in the 1900s. It was the first one of the century cycle. I think it was set in, I want to say it's 1900. But yeah, that was the only show that I had where it was truly like an entirely Black production. And it was very, very special to me that we were able to do something like that. One of the funny things that happened is they say, I don't know if the curse on this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But define what you mean by curse.
I was going to say, N-word.
Keep it to a minimum.
Okay, well, we use the N-word in the show. And some of the white students on the show got really offended and left that this all-Black production was using a word that we use in the show that was appropriate for the time period, how it was being used and everything. And it was no white character saying it. But anyway, yeah. So I think another difference that I've noticed is a lot of white actors are very interested in other cultures, and they're very interested in trying to connect with them. But they are also they don't understand what I don't want to say performative might be the right word. Basically, they're very much like, I need to be like the most. They're putting their feelings in front of ours, I guess. They're like, that's wrong. You shouldn't say that. When everyone in the show and all the audience, for the most part, was connected on what was happening in the story and what was everything, we knew what was happening. They were very upset at the fact that we were using that word. And we're like, the word is about us. We're using it. We understand.
That is what happened.
I think they want to be politically correct, seen as a good person.
I feel it's awkward because, mind you, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
It just made me think about it because I enjoy stuff like that in terms of like I like observing it. I'm just like, what are you doing? Because if there's the story is everyone involved is aware of the story contextually, where it goes, why it's there, the meaning of the word, why we're using it, and it's always interesting to me when someone's asking me politically correct in a sense where it doesn't really fit because we're already politically correct by the time frame of which we're using it, the characters, who's using it,
they're offended by
and
the
then
truth.
no one's offended by it.
Yeah.
So it's like who are we protecting in essence when you like, oh, I want to be politically correct.
It's guilt. It's them being like, I don't want to be seen as a bad person. This would make me a bad person. If I did this, or well, not the case. If I saw this and it's like there's a cultural disconnect where they just aren't. The story's not for them. I guess is the best way to put it. The story's not for them.
Or I feel like if anything, they're not immersed.
They're inserting themselves into the story.
Yeah.
Instead of watching a conversation in our
And that's crazy to me because I feel like for us, I always want genuine support, not a checklist support.
Exactly.
Like if you tell me that you rock with me like for shits and giggles, you'd be like, okay, so it's gonna be to a point where you're not gonna rock with me, whatever it's gonna be. But if you genuinely rock with me, the situations where like you won't be fake politically correct. It's just gonna be like, why would I? But that's the story. It's like listening. Like you read the script, not you read the script. You saw the story, what it was about, who was saying it, and said, what's more important to me is
my feelings.
Yeah, even though
I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it takes a certain amount of dissonance. No, dissonance. I think it takes a certain amount of. Is dissonance the right word? Not quote me for that. It takes a certain amount of distance emotionally to have a perspective on something you're not immersed in to understand, or you're not immersed in to feel empathy towards. Like you feel, like you said, a form of guilt. You feel, and I feel like that guilt only comes from being separated from the experience. If you're immersed in it, I don't feel there's any guilt to feel because if anything, you feel understanding, you feel empathy, you feel, even if it made you uncomfortable, despite the word being there, I feel like at the same time, you bite your tongue because it's like, this isn't my story to tell. It's not my story to be shared, but it is a story that needs to be heard.
They want to engage with it without feeling the uncomfortableness that comes with their engagement.
Yeah,
that's
it's
really
like a
what it comes
museum.
down to.
Like it's like an exhibit in a glass case. Like I want to see it, but I don't want to be too close to it.
They because August Wilson. Well, obviously the show was written by him, a black playwright, directed by my director, all the cast. They're like, oh no, this is false fiction. So who are you to say? August Wilson is also famous for, while he's alive, I hope this is still true. I don't know what it is since he died. He wouldn't let white actors do the shows because they don't understand it. You couldn't be a white person and direct any of the shows because you lack the cultural understanding.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I forgot what we were originally talking about. But anyway, that's the big difference, I think. There are plenty of great white actors. I have plenty of white friends who are in the theater. I've worked with lots of great ones, so that's not like a blanket statement. But I have noticed in general that a lot of performers of color, especially black performers, are much more focused on how can we bring more of us into this than how can I shine a light on myself. There's a really interesting documentary I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but I know what it's about. It's by Issa Rae. I forgot the specific name, unfortunately, I'm blanking on it.
You said the documentary about Issa Rae?
Yes. Basically, what it is it talks about like all of the big shows in Hollywood, like the big movies and television shows, and how they are all connected by the people who are in them.
Oh, the history of black television.
Yeah. Like this person worked on this, and this person saw them and gave them this opportunity, and like gave them this opportunity. So like the black entertainment is so it's like a family tree, and all of these shows are very connected. Even up to like Ryan Coogler, seeing I don't know how he came in contact with Michael B. Jordan, but he did. And now Michael B. Jordan is an Oscar, and they have that partnership.
Yeah.
You can look at like Denzel and Spike. You can look at just the whole history of like the Wayans Bros family and how they put on so many different people and like how many things that came from that. But all these things are
Jim
connected.
Carrey too.
Jim Carrey too. He put on Jim Carrey. It's just so interesting, and that's one of the reasons I like Sinners. Because one of the big takeaways of that movie, for the big scene happens, was like, it's magic what we do, it's sacred and it's big, and all of us are connected to the art that we make. And I think Black media especially really shows that family tree and how well we've been like supporting each other throughout these decades to tell our stories and have them be heard. And I really, really, really enjoy that. I really enjoy being a part of that as a Black creator. And I hope to be able to put other people in positions where they can share their perspectives and their stories with our community. And I want to incorporate theater in that as well too. I feel like that's another place that there are a lot of good shows that are written by Black playwrights and everything that are out there. And I just think it's cool, and I like being able to add to that. I guess my goal is like really add to that.
I think I fell in love with a lot of stuff I've seen before. I just wish that like, and I was telling you this before we shot, like with movies like Love Jones and like I love movies like that when I was then rewatching them with like a more like tuned in mind. I'm like, that shit was toxic as hell. What do you mean? You told him like when Nia Long's in that scene and what she said, oh boy, she said I'm going to New York to go finish some business. And she was actually going to see the old dude. And she did whatever, and she was like, if he stops me, I'll stay, I won't go. What?
People always talk about Love and Basketball being a psychological horror movie.
Yeah. But I can't say there's not the Notebook out there, because it is. That's even the same thing. But it's just crazy to me, like, rewatching certain movies with a different lens and being like, I don't want this, you know? I hope this love never finds me. But it made me think about something else that you kind of touched on, is like the responsibility of just being Black and including people. I think like that's so much for us to carry. And so my question for you is like, when you experience burnout in those spaces, because there's a responsibility, number one, to bring people who look like us. Number two, to stay passionate about the craft. Number three, to expand your own further than, you know, of course, like when you do theater, when you do films and stuff, you're going to do the films you want to do.
Yeah.
It's not always you're not going to do the films you don't want to do. You never know. I'm not a director. Yeah. But
You're directing this. What are you talking about?
You know, every dues.
You got a camera, you have ideas, you're expressing those ideas with the camera. Congratulations, you're directing.
I'm trying. Direction. But how do you deal with burnout in those spaces creatively? Because I've seen, like, mind you, the way he does photography, chef's kiss. Like, if you want your album cover done, if you want your music, well, are you still doing music videos?
I'm still doing it.
If you want your music video,
contact me.
Safely. Let me add that. Safely. We'll do the music video safely. Anything else that I've seen you do, I enjoy how passionate, effective, and how well you do it. But I'm a pessimistic person at heart. In my head, I'm like, how is he doing this? How do you keep the gears turning? And you're able to like go in and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go in, bam. Next thing, go in, bam. Next thing, go in, bam. Like, how are you able to manage your burnout?
I do really have a hard time with this actually. But rest, obviously. But the other big thing about creative work in general is creativity is a muscle. Just like you going to the gym, the more reps you do, the more reps you can do. You start at the gym running on a treadmill, the longer you start doing that, the sooner you'll be able to run longer and longer and longer, or you'll be able to do more reps. Same with the creativity. Burnout does happen, but if you are resting properly, taking breaks when you need to, and treating it like the real thing that it is, which is like an exercise for your brain, is something that requires discipline, and not just something that is on the fly, even though it seems like it is a lot of time creativity. It's actually a very structured thing. The more you do it, the more you can do, the more you can handle. It's no different than going to the gym.
That's fair.
The more work you do, the more you can do. The more ideas you get, the more experience you have, the easier it is to do things. The less you're experiencing burnout, because instead of being like, oh my god, it took me so long to set this up, how am I going to do this, I need to figure this out, this out, and this out. Later down the line, you'll already have that done, and you won't be experiencing the mental load of figuring all that out. You know your process, you know how to get things done. So you're less focused on how am I going to do this, you're being able to put all of your energy in the what am I going to do.
I have two last questions, and they're gonna be juicing, I want you to plug in Pint Size Productions. But actually, can we just focus on that? Plug in everything that you're doing right now. You don't have to tell us everything.
Yeah.
You plug in what you want us to tell us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut up and let him do his thing.
Okay, so I have Pint Size Productions. It is a creative branding production company. We specialize in telling brand stories for local artists, local small businesses. I also do a lot of portraits through there. As you sang music, I have been doing music for a while. I think I'm going to continue doing the music kind of stuff. Filming music videos, I mean. I don't make music. But anyway, yeah, our focus with Pine Size Productions is art is very important. It's, in my opinion, the most important thing in the world. It's the thing that connects us, the way we experience the world. I talk about theater a lot. My business is based around theater-minded productions. That's something I really bring to the table. I think it really teaches you how to better interact with the world around you, and it's extremely important to see that, to be involved with that, and to hear the stories of people and be able to relate to them and connect to the community around you. So that's my goal with my production company, to connect people to the community around them. Whether that be a small business that you can support, or an artist who's trying to get their name out, or just someone who wants to celebrate something, like someone who just graduated high school. I think it's important for us to take them in and celebrate their accomplishments, learn from their stories, and see how we can connect and grow together. So yeah, I also am looking to get back on the stage sometime soon. We'll see when that happens.
Tomorrow?
I'm still looking.
Tomorrow?
I wish. Tomorrow? Yeah, I wish. Trying to do all that. Basically, if you find my social media, in my bio it says I'm going to do it all.
It says if, but it'll just be in
yeah. There's.
You plug it.
I like creating stuff. I like art. I like expressing myself. I don't like the idea of you have to do one thing or be in a box. There is no box. There is a famous poem where Walt Whitman says, "I am large. I contain multitudes." That's something that I took. I learned in a class that I hated, but unfortunately has stuck with me for a very long time. You're alive once. Why stick to one thing? You can do so much stuff. Your life, they say life is short, but it's also the longest thing you're going to do. Take that time, experience all the things you want to do. Don't lock yourself into one thing. So, I wanna do everything, and we'll see what that looks like. And right now, it's Pine Size Productions. We'll see what that grows and shapes itself into. Yeah.
And now the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I know what your number one is.
What?
Top 5 movies.
Top 5 movies?
All time.
All
For
time.
you.
All time. No explanation. Off the top of my head. Okay. Sinners. Boys in the Hood. Sorry to Bother You. Sky High. Up. There we go.
I'm not gonna lie, I like that. I like that a lot.
People get really pretentious about it because they're like, oh, you didn't name this kind of movie, or you didn't name this kind of movie, or there's no Christopher Nolan, or there's no big time Quentin Tarantino or whatever actor. Look, movies have feelings. Movies connect with you. So like, hey, if you like it, you like it. It was Sky High for a very long time. Sinners took the mantle. The list I gave you was in no order, by the way. Other than Sinners was number 1. But yeah, that's it.
I forgot you're supposed to. What Duran Bernard said? He said it's supposed to be middle finger.
Oh,
Bro, it's crazy. Every single movie on that list, I can't even disagree with you.
What's yours?
Right now,
Right now,
it's complicated.
top of your head.
I only got 3.
All right, I want 5. I did 5. I want 5.
I don't know if I have 5.
You can come up with 5. I believe.
Number 1, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Good.
Number 2, Good Will Hunting. Number 3, Sinners.
Yeah.
Mind you, that's an interchangeable order. And this was the first top 3 I could think of where I can watch like over and over and over and over again and be like, yeah, I can do this again. Now 4 and 5, that's harder because I feel like the impact that movies have on me changes as I rewatch them and as I watch more. And I wish, and people always say like when you see the movie the first time, how made you feel? It's like so important, and I agree. However, due to my brain functioning, the first time I see a movie and the second time I see a movie are really important to me. So I'm trying to think of like
They say that the first time you watch something should be for pure entertainment, but the second time should be like the actual analysis.
I think number 4 might have to be the Matrix trilogy.
Nice.
And then number 5, sheesh.
My honorable mention is Menace to Society.
Sheesh.
And my other honorable mention is Over the Hedge.
I'm trying to think. What's that movie? Something Misfortune. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
I've never seen that.
It's
I read the book.
It's not Steve Carell, is it? Is it Steve Carell?
It's Ben Stiller, I think.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's Ben Stiller. The reason why I even watched it is because of Severance. And Severance was like, I was in there every day, every episode. I was locked in. You couldn't take it from me. But I don't know why, but the movies that make me think, and make me question like my ideals, my thought process, or my existentialism, or the way I feel about life, always rise to the top of my list because they require change for me.
Yeah.
And whenever a movie requires change for me is when it goes like all the way up. And that's when I was like, all right. So those 5, I think I'm okay with sitting on those.
Yeah. That's a good list.
I think I'm okay with sitting on those.
Mm-hmm.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind changed everything when I first saw it because, and you haven't seen it yet. It's almost spoiled. But for all intents and purposes, it's a science fiction drama.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know the premise behind it.
oh, so you know the premise.
Yeah, where he's like he wants to delete the memories he had with this person.
Yes.
Yeah.
So watching the process of that piece and like the coming to terms, acceptance, the understanding errors and people, the flaws in people, and still loving flaws, like I think that it showed how to love fully and not conveniently. Because I think that with friendships and relationships, you always are going to be inconvenienced by the people you love, whether you like them. And then like that just did it for me. And the Good Will Hunting, that's just good old. You know, there's not much I can say about that. I don't know if you know this. I didn't realize that you probably already know this, but the script itself was pitched by
Matt Damon.
and then it was changed into what it is. But in the contract, they had to be the leads. I didn't know that, but it's like every time I hear something like that, I'm like, okay, so we're just making contract out the blue. Like Ryan Coogler's contract is like he'll own the rights after a certain period of time. I'm like, so where's the rest of y'all legal to be like, we want more of the pie?
Hey, if it's good, it's good.
Yeah, because if it's good, it's great. But with that being said, I appreciate you coming to the show. This is the podcast. You guys know only come out here when I have an episode to make. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. All of his socials are going to be wherever I post this, so Spotify, YouTube. Just check like the description boxes. This will be up there. Everything that you need to know about him, we'll have. We'll have all the answers to it. But with that being said, any closing thoughts?
Art is important. Art is the most important thing. Go out there, express yourself, tell your story. People need to hear it. Your unique perspective, your voice only comes from you. That's the most valuable thing in anything you do. I think a lot of people get really caught up on, I'm making this thing, but it looks like I made it. It doesn't look like this, it doesn't look like this. The fact that it looks like it came from you is literally the most important part of it. That is what makes it unique, that is what makes it special, that is what makes it valuable, that is what makes it important. So go out there and share your perspective because we really need to hear it.
And you heard it from him. Go outside, touch grass, tell your family you love them.
Touch grass.
Yeah, you get me. Seasons we are. Woo!